Okay, welcome to Lake Forest. I am Mayor Stanford Tack. We are here today to celebrate the completion of IDOT's pump station reconstruction at US Route 41 and Deer Path Road in Lake Forest. One of the project's objectives was to improve safety by addressing the flooding problem at Deer Path Road and Route 41 underpass by constructing a new pumping station with increased capacity to handle heavy rain events. The flooding at Deer Path Road and Route 41 underpass was a decades-long problem for Lake Foresters. Several times a year, during rain events, there would be standing water upwards of 12 feet blocking Deer Path Road, which is one of the main east-west arterials through Lake Forest. The flooding was more than an inconvenience. It was also a public safety concern, since it cut off the police and fire station to the east of Route 41 and Lake Forest Hospital to the west. It also significantly impacted school children being able to travel to and from Deer Path Medical School and Lake Forest High School. I am happy to report that since the project's completion, Deer Path Road continues to be passable even during heavy rain events. We are very grateful to Governor Pritzker and IDOT for investing in Lake Forest. The project has already made a huge difference for our community and has made us well equipped to better manage stormwater well into the future. There are numerous people who helped to make this project happen, many of whom are here today. We offer a big thank you to Governor Pritzker and the state of Illinois for making these improvements in Lake Forest, the Illinois Department of Transportation for working with us on this project for several years. Also thanks to IDOT's contractor, Berger Excavating, for working closely with city staff to limit impacts to residents whenever possible. Illinois State Senator Julie Morrison was instrumental in helping secure funding for this project. A special thanks to Illinois State Rep. Bob Morgan as well. I'd also like to thank the nearby neighbors and the community for their patience during construction. As mayor, there are a lot of issues that keep me up at night. On days when we have heavy rains, I'm grateful that flooding under the Route 41 underpass is no longer one of them. At this time, I'd like to introduce Governor Pritzker.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm a little shorter than you are, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Great to see everybody here. Thank you so much, Mayor Tack, and a very kind introduction, and of course for hosting us here today in your great city and at the Lake Forest Recreation Center. I'm thrilled to be here along with Secretary Omar Osman, Senator Julie Morrison, Representative Bob Morgan, and of course community members who have worked on and cared about this project for many years. We are all here to celebrate a major advancement in infrastructure for Lake County and a new era for residents and travelers in Lake Forest and through Lake Forest. Anyone who frequents this area knows all too well that the viaduct at Deer Path Road and US Route 41 is prone to severe flooding every time there is a major storm. Regular road closures keep children from getting to school, prevent parents from going to the grocery store, and in the worst cases, block families from getting their loved ones to the hospital. It really has been an untenable situation, but one that's existed for decades since the pump station was installed in the 1950s. If you've felt like this upgrade was far too long in the making, you're not alone. It's happened in communities from Lake Forest to Joliet to Carbondale. Our state's infrastructure above and below ground had been neglected for decades. And when I took office almost 5 years ago, it was time to put the past behind us and to modernize the basic foundations of our state. And that brings us to the bipartisan Rebuild Illinois plan that began in 2019. I want to make sure that you know that when the mayor says that Senator Morrison and Representative Morgan were instrumental, they really were. These two legislators are leaders in Springfield. I hope you all know that you are lucky, you're also smart to send people to Springfield who can persuade their fellow legislators to do the right thing all across the state of Illinois, and I am proud to work with them, and I want to give both of them a big round of applause. So today I'm bursting with pride to announce that after all the years of planning and construction, we've officially completed our improvement project at the US 41 Deer Path Road Viaduct, and thanks to a more than $18 million investment made possible by the Rebuild Illinois Capital Plan, we have entirely relocated and reconstructed the existing pump station, built 2 new detention ponds to handle any excess flow from the pump station, in addition to making multiple safety improvements that alleviate flooding and guarantee access to this major roadway. From below-deck downspouts and related drainage infrastructure to a new 5-lane cross-section underneath the US 41 bridge viaduct, travelers and Lake Forest residents can now rest easy when it rains, knowing that they won't be trapped on flooded roads with no means to get out. This project was a massive undertaking, requiring the cooperation and coordination of not only the Illinois Department of Transportation, but also the City of Lake Forest, local stakeholders like the Union Pacific Railroad, Northwestern Medical Lake Forest Hospital, Faith Lutheran Church, and Deer Path Middle School. To every resident, to every worker, and every leader who played a part in today's milestone, thank you. Thank you for partnering with us to create a safer future, especially for those who call Lake County home. And this project is just scratching the surface of all the improvements that we're making here in the region, from repairing Illinois 60 in Round Lake and replacing the bridge at Grand Avenue in Lake Villa and Lindenhurst, to resurfacing Illinois 83 in Buffalo Grove and installing new bridge deck over the Union Pacific Railroad on Washington Street in Park City and in Gurnee. We are rebuilding every Illinois community, from Cairo to Manuka to Cicero. For the first time, Illinois is modernizing all modes of transportation: roads and bridges, transit, waterways, freight and passenger rail, aviation, and bicycle and pedestrian accommodations. We're merging history and legacy with an eye for the future. And when it comes, and with it comes a new day for all Illinoisans, creating jobs and opportunity, bringing new vibrancy to our communities, and connecting every corner of our state. So with that, I'm very proud to introduce someone who's been at the leadership of really everything about Rebuild Illinois, and that's our great Illinois Department of Transportation Secretary, Omer Osman. Omer? Thank you.
Good morning. So, Governor, you're always kind to me. One of these days, I'll have the courage of asking for a raise. So, thank you, though. Thank you for the kind introduction. And it's great to be here. It's great to be back in Lake County. Thank you to the entire team at the Illinois Department of Transportation. They are lined up here on the second and third row. Is being led by Steve Travia, who is the Chief Engineer, statewide Director of Highways. And obviously, Jose Rios is here. He's sitting in the back. He's a regional engineer out of Schaumburg, tending to the Chicago area. But all of them do great work for us day in and day out. But I wanted to single out somebody who's special, who is in the crowd with them. His name is Brian Kotop. A lot of you know him. He worked on this job day in, day out. He's a legend in the district, and he is also the Illinois Society of Civil Engineers Governmental Engineer of the Year for the state of Illinois. He does a wonderful job. So, Brian, yeah. Thank you, Brian. And I also would like to give a shout out to all of our partners, our host, Mayor Tack, and Lake Forest, Senator Morrison, Representative Morgan, and of course, our good governor for their effort to make this day possible. I'm going to tell you that I have been very lucky to attend many events like this since the governor and General Assembly passed Rebuild Illinois back in 2019. Ones like this are special because they highlight an improvement that fixes a long-time problem. Long time, 60 years in the making, and you could talk to the Public Works Director, Mike, 60 years in the making, Mike Thomas, was telling me all about this issue. And it does make our infrastructure more resilient and sustainable for long term. As the governor noted, this project has been in the works for decades. During that time, the demand on our system of transportation and what is required to keep people moving have changed. There are no saying you do not build a new addition to your house when the roof is falling apart. This pump station and the surrounding improvements are a smart investment to make sure our existing roads and bridges are meeting the needs of the public. It is one of many hallmarks of Rebuild Illinois. This project is going to positively impact safety, quality of life, and reliability in this community for generations to come. Lastly, if you are driving anywhere in the state of Illinois, you are driving through an IDOT work zone, courtesy of Rebuild Illinois. And there are many of them in Lake County. Please slow down. And when you see workers and equipment, stay patient. Put down the devices. And please pardon our dust while we continue to rebuild Illinois. Thank you for having us here this morning. And now it is my pleasure, and the governor mentioned her, and she is a true champion of infrastructure, Senator Morrison. Senator.
Good morning, everyone. Did it take dozens and dozens of construction workers and engineers and many years and millions of dollars? Yes, it did, but now it's completed, and generations of people who travel up and down Deer Path and Skokie are going to be able to enjoy those benefits. And as the state senator who represents Lake Forest and as a resident of Lake Forest, I could not be happier and prouder to stand here this morning and celebrate this. The thing I want to mention that has been most rewarding to watch this project has been the cooperation between the state and local government. To watch the Public Works Department work so closely with IDOT, to watch the administration work so closely with the state. That's the way governments are supposed to work together. That's why we are here together to celebrate, and why it's so appropriate that all of us are here in the room. So congratulations on this project. We should have so many more. I think the governor has foretold us of things that are coming down the road. And on that note, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Representative Bob Morgan.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here. Again, State Representative Bob Morgan, an honor to represent the 58th District, including Lake Forest. I have a number of thank yous, but I really would be remiss without starting with somebody who has been the absolute best partner, and I would argue the best partner in a governor for all of Lake County ever, Governor J.B. Pritzker. So please give him another round of applause. The governor mentioned it, but we work with the governor and his office and his team on any number of issues all the time, almost multiple times a week. And it's all to bring back beneficial projects in public works like this for Lake County. So we're very, very fortunate and lucky and blessed to have Governor Pritzker have our back in Lake County and Lake Forest. We also have the IDOT, which again is on the phone and responding to our calls and emails all the time. So another round of applause for Secretary Osmond and his team. And then our just very hometown of Lake Forest and city manager, Jason Witcha, who we work with all the time, Mayor Tack, and their teams are our partners but our neighbors. Many of you in the room in the back could not have gotten this project done without you. So we're so grateful for this partnership, for the work that you do and the work that you will do moving forward. And with all those thank yous, there's one thank you that the reality is we wouldn't be here without my partner in the General Assembly, State Senator Julie Morrison. So another round of applause for my incredible partner, Julie Morrison. She has been fighting for funding for this project for years, even predating my term in office. So I'm so grateful to her and for the work for our community, and also, again, a resident and neighbor of you in Lake Forest. In addition to all of that, I think it's important to note what we will be doing moving forward. We already were here, I think it was about a year ago, just welcoming the addition, the ribbon cutting of the completion of the Burr Oak project, which is a different part of Lake Forest, which experienced tremendous flooding, which has been completed and eradicated. We literally eradicated flooding in Burr Oak area in Lake Forest because of the work of many of the people in this room. But I also would be remiss if I didn't mention what we will be doing moving forward, because flooding continues to impact Lake County. And we can't talk about flooding in Lake Forest or Lake County without recognizing that it's a reflection of climate. We are having these once-in-a-century floods every year. And the reason that is happening is because of climate change and the downward flow of water from Wisconsin and the mistakes they're making that impacts our communities and our waterways and our rivers and our lake. So we will continue to do what we need to do in Illinois to make sure we're protecting our communities from flooding, because there's nothing, literally nothing worse than waking up in the middle of the night knowing your basement has flooded or that your community has flooded in a major artery where you can't get to your school or your job or your hospital. So we will continue to work with that and address those issues in Illinois. We have budgeted $122 million to eradicate flooding in Lake County and fully fund the Lake County stormwater management. And you can guarantee that we are going to make sure that money gets to our communities and we eradicate flooding in our neighborhoods. So thank you so much. I'm happy to bring back to the podium, again, our amazing partner and Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Happy to take any questions from members of the media. Well, given how long this process has been and how long Senator Morrison's been fighting for it before I was governor, I would say you need a governor and a General Assembly and a Department of Transportation that are all willing to work together, and then you need the resources to get it done. So I can just say that, more than anything is what's allowed us to finally rebuild all across the state of Illinois. I know you want me to go through maybe some processes discussion, but the most important thing, honestly, is we had to get a package put together that had the best, most important projects around the state in it, and it had to be big enough to take care of the problems that have been left unaddressed for decades. And finally, here we are. So I often say to people, when you see an orange cone on the road and you need to slow down, and you do need to slow down, when you see those orange cones and you're sort of cursing that it's going to take you longer to get from here to there, remember that the investment that we're making there and the effort that's being made there by the men and women of organized labor and the people who are in charge of the construction, that is going to have positive effects for decades to come.
I personally don't, but the district staff is here, and I do know that's an important project for us and for the district, though. But we could talk about that a little bit later and give you some background. Yeah, thank you.
So I hate that mainstream media are picking up right-wing media talking points, so let me correct you a little bit. Yeah, there are 2.4 million FOID card holders in the state of Illinois. 2.4 million people do not have assault weapons. So when you talk about the percentage of people who are filing and registering, it's a much higher percentage than what you've cited of the people who are required to do so. I can tell you, at least for me, that I think all of us take our time sometimes when we know the deadline is 2.5 months hence, that we'll find the time eventually to go online, which is what they need to do, and to register as they're required to do. So we expect there to be more and more people as we get closer to the deadline, which is the end of the year, to do so. And people who don't, obviously, at some point, they will be breaking the law. They're not that common, and I should probably ask Representative Morgan, who drafted the bill, and Senator Morrison, who was very instrumental in it, to talk about this. But I will say that the target here is keeping people safe. You should be able and free to go to a parade and not get shot at, and not have 83 bullets fired in 60 seconds or less. And that's all we're asking. We're not taking guns away from people. We're not limiting your freedom. We're simply recognizing that we want people to be safe, and don't think that it's a weapon that keeps you safe to have something that fires that many bullets in that short a period of time. I don't know if Representative Morgan wants to address it as well.
I would echo everything the governor just mentioned. This is new for the state of Illinois. As you noted, historically, we've registered people with our FOID card registration. This is the first time we're registering weapons themselves. I also think there are a lot of individuals who have these weapons are considering whether to sell them to someone out of state, which is a provision in the law that they're allowed to do. So I do think this is a function of cramming for the test, that people will wait till the last minute. They'll see, there's obviously, we're still waiting for a ruling from the Federal Court of Appeals. Some people are waiting for that. But I also expect that number to increase as people recognize that they want to be law-abiding citizens, and they want to be consistent with state law, and they will register their existing legacy weapons. Otherwise, they're risking their FOID card. And I think the vast, vast majority of people are just committed to being law-abiding citizens the way they are now.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great day for Lake Forest.